Hi, I am Allie Camilletti, and you are listening to Snack Leadership. I will be talking about everything leadership, broken down into bite-sized pieces. You will hear what different leadership skills look like in organizations and how they can rise teams up or take them down. I help leaders build resilience and improve performance by bringing awareness to opportunity behaviors in my business. Spark your mindset. I provide leadership and sales coaching, as well as team building and guest speaking. My hope is for you to feel inspiration and to create a spark in your mindset. Hi, everyone. Today we are talking about confidence. Confidence is a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. Don Schmincke is the author of the best-selling book, The Code of Executive, and has been featured in the Wall Street Journal and USA Today. He's an award-winning speaker, researcher, and founder of the SAGA Leadership Institute. Don, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're going to start off, and I'll ask you, what is something you've learned about yourself recently?
I trust too much.
Oh, can you expand?
It sounds paradoxical because we're supposed to trust, but I've made a lot of mistakes with assuming that people were at a certain level of competency or strategic thinking, and then handling off a project and only to have it go sideways and cost me a lot of money. So that's what I've learned about myself.
So that you trust too much. And so what are you doing to navigate that?
Not trust so much.
What's that look like?
It's like Reagan, I guess, trust but verify. In other words, not assuming, give people tests or give them little mini projects, see how they perform, instead of just hearing them talk about how great they are and they have a note from their mother. I was just using that as enough. It's not enough.
Yeah, I get that. And we're in a world where trust, I think, has become more of an issue more than ever. The teams that I've worked with, that is really across the board.
Yeah.
People are struggling with taking risks. They're more fearful. And so...
Yeah, it's paradoxical. I mean, because we want to, obviously you want trust, and that helps speed of execution and innovation and all this. It was just weird that taken too far too fast, I ended up hurting myself a bit. So that's one of the things I've learned about myself. I'm not saying we shouldn't trust each other. I'm saying that we should validate that if someone says something, that it's true, it's real.
Oh, it is so true. And I have run into that many a times of trusting too much. And then I've had to reset myself with understanding, like, no, Allie, you are supposed to trust. This was just one situation. Don't lose all confidences and everything. Like, recalibrate here.
And I don't think it's that people are generally trying to deceive or offer some false information. I think they really believe what they believe. It's just that if you're bringing them into a certain project or a certain level, they may not know that they don't know, or they may assume that what you're talking about is within their grasp, and it's not. So I think it's a matter of testing and being open to that.
I love it. Okay, so getting back to our skill of choice today when it comes to leadership, we're talking about confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And so can you share with us an example of when you have experienced a leader that really embraced confidence?
No.
Never?
I have, I've trained over 30,000 CEOs. So I train about almost 1,000 CEOs a year. And I find the best ones are the ones that question themselves. They're not overly confident. They're confident enough to want to, they can make decisions, take risks and all that, but they're open to learning about themselves and to explore and question that maybe I don't know it. I don't know everything. I don't know. I need to learn more. So I think it's in the learning that we have to give ourselves some room to make mistakes and really grow from it. And so, in a sense, I'm kind of taking an opposite direction, but I think there's some value there.
I am completely with you. And I mean, when you think about it, if they do have confidence, and confidence not to be confused with being too, I'll say, ego focused,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That they're not always bringing somebody in
Mhm.
to work on those different pieces.
Yeah.
And when did you first embody this skill of confidence?
Um, I think I think when I stopped being a teenager and realized I don't know everything,
Yeah.
I started being confident enough to make mistakes, and that helped me as I went through or the work I did at MIT and later on at Johns Hopkins. A lot of the research was, I think, being confident enough to realize that mistakes don't define me, but there's something that allow me to learn and take risks, and it's okay. And I got used to that, so I really feel that it's part of me now. So in a sense, I guess my confidence expresses itself like I'm getting older and so many more mistakes to make and so little time left, I think, is how I see life.
So, I mean, we do understand that leaders, are always in a perfect world. We want them to look at themselves and have
Mhm.
that self awareness and continue to see them as opportunities for growth and be able
Mhm.
to take risk. But what have you experienced in organizations when confidence was so low? And what came out in the organization because the leader struggled too much with lack of confidence?
Fear and a lot of fear-based behaviors.
Ooh, yeah. Tell me more.
Because I think a culture of confidence is they're willing to take risks, make mistakes, challenge each other, grow and speak powerfully. But without that confidence, there's more fear, protectionism, politic, silos, the internal battles. Like when I train when I do these workshops with executives, and I will ask them how much time is wasted in dysfunctional behavior like that. And generally, I get a range of 20 to 80%, but the average is always around 50% on an average. That means probably most of our organizations are wasting half of their power in inconfident, fear-based behaviors.
And so, what do you recommend to them? Not that we have a whole day to focus on this, but the short and sweet.
I think usually when we engage a company and they want to take performance to a new level, I start with strategy. It's like, let's forget about culture and structure and values and all that. Let's start with strategy. And a lot of times, most companies don't have strategy; they have tactics, and they think it's strategy. And then when we get in there and point out, like, look, this is a great tactical plan, but if your strategy is flawed, you're going to lose the war. And we got to back up. And I was part of the problem because I was teaching at the graduate school at Johns Hopkins. I was teaching analytical models, and then I found out that that's not strategy. I mean, analysis is great for tactics, but when you see these companies start up and all the experts, all the consultants, and all the thought leaders, so they're not going to make it. They do this wrong, they do that wrong, they're not following best practices, and somehow this company rises up and dominates the world. I think that's called a clue that we're not teaching this right.
Yeah.
And so I find the strategy is more around intuition. How do you shift your beliefs and how do you out intuit the threats or your enemies, and that's how these companies become great. But once you have strategy down, then people can know what winning means and how they contribute to it, how they're going to do it. See, once you have that in place, then it's easier to go into, okay, where are we not confident, or where are we overconfident, or how do we change our culture to bring to bear what we need to have our strategy execute. So the whole confidence piece and the whole values piece, I think, becomes a strategic foundation supporting it versus just, hey, let's all be confident tomorrow. It's like, I don't know what that means, right? There's a lot of companies that went bankrupt, very confident companies that went bankrupt.
It's so true. I was having this discussion just this morning about a manager that her goal was to be a little more confident in meetings and speak up, right? And
Mhm.
I said, well, as we get you there, let's give an area of focus for you to present so
Right.
that you
Yeah.
don't feel like it's all on you, right? You're speaking to something else to help as
Mhm.
we build that level of confidence,
Right.
especially
Yeah.
especially as introverts and in front of people, it can be challenging.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. But I think you're right. I think, if there's a foundation that makes strategic sense, then you're speaking from something different. You're not speaking from you making a point. You're speaking from an observation or an insight around something more strategic, more relevant for results and execution and like that. And I think with finding confidence for our voices and that place, it's not personal. It's not personal. Okay, maybe I got something wrong. Maybe I heard something wrong. Yeah, that's fine. Thanks for correcting. Let's move on.
I love it. All right. There's so many more questions I want to ask you, but I'm going to stick to what we have on focus today and ask you just more about who's a mentor that you had in your life that supported you in this area of confidence.
I think it was a series of people that had patience enough to teach me something. Mainly, it was in academia. As I was
Mm,
going through and pursuing new areas of research, and it was good having professors, and I was just really fortunate to be around some really brilliant people, and them allowing me to take on, like when I automated the Harvard MIT biomedical lab. I was using a program or system I had developed at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory research lab, and I couldn't. They just said, well, go ahead, see what you can do. And back in those days, computers didn't really talk to themselves that easily. I know I'm dating myself,
right?
but yeah, so it was just having, I think, good teachers around me help me learn and be a good student, but also allow me eventually to be a good teacher as well. And that's how I see myself, as I feel like I'm a teacher and a learner.
Yeah. I love it. And what about a quote that you feel really connects with this leadership skill of confidence?
It's funny you ask because my new book's coming out next month. It's called Winners and Losers. And it's for entrepreneurs. And I dispel, I don't know, half a dozen myths throughout the book. But it's that point of, making mistakes and learning from them. Because an entrepreneur it's different. It's not like, oh, we're going to have a project meeting and wow, that project didn't work and you fail fast. And what do we? No, it's totally different. I mean, you fail as an entrepreneur, you're losing your house. You may be losing your marriage. You may have lost your kids. I mean, it's like life-changing pain. And in it, and doing the research for that book and talking to some amazing entrepreneurs, this Japanese quote kept coming up again, which was, I'm paraphrasing here: fall down 7, get up 8. So you're going to fall 7 times, get up 8 times. Always keep getting up.
I like that. And I do think it makes the difference as I've watched people go down that road of entrepreneurialism,
Hmm.
and they're like, I can do this. And then it's like, no, it's about can you withstand all of the failures
Yeah,
over and over again, right?
yeah, hmm,
And be able to reinvent yourself at times
yeah,
and
and that
know that it doesn't happen overnight.
and that takes confidence, doesn't it?
It does take confidence. You're absolutely right. Okay, let's close with what's your favorite snack?
Bourbon.
All right, I've had wine before. Bourbon, I love it. Now, is it on the rocks? Is it straight up? What is it?
Funny, I have to give a speech to an association in Louisville, so it's a perfect place to have this conversation about bourbon. I like with a little bit of ice. You know,
A little bit of ice.
yeah, I
Okay.
was
Is
told
there a
that
certain
it's
brand?
chemical reaction. It's that's a dangerous question because, like I said, I'm going to Louisville, and there's probably 100 brands. So I'm just going to say they all fit. They all fit within the realm of the perfect whiskey. So I'm going to just leave it at that.
Oh,
Yes.
Don, I appreciate you so much. And I'm so grateful that you chose to spend this time with us and
Thank
the
you.
listeners. And we all look forward to your book. Is there anything else you want us to know about you?
No, I'm still learning. I'm still making mistakes, still growing, and I'm starting to dispel myths as a fun hobby. If everybody wants to go to Saga Leadership.com, we stole it from the Vikings, SAGA Leadership.com. Go in and play a little bit. I'm starting to have some fun with that, and the new research. I'm going to keep giving it out as we find it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you too.
Thank you for tuning in to Snack Leadership. I hope you felt inspiration, motivation, and felt your mindset spark. Snack Leadership is recorded and produced by myself, Ali Camilletti, and music by Shireen Amini.